In this week's Parshas Behar, Perek Chafei, Pasuk Yates, shortly after, just after Sheni, which we're going to read this week, we're told that the Rebbeinu Shalom gives a promise to people who keep Shemitah. If you observe Shemitah and you leave your land fallow, don't worry about the food, don't worry about your parnasa. The fruit, the land will give its fruit, and you will eat and you will be satisfied. Explains Rashi, what does that mean? You'll eat and be satisfied. There will be the person will be satisfied with a small amount. There'll be a bracha in the food that I won't have to eat very much. Then the Torah does something that's rather strange. It asks a question. It says, perhaps you'll ask, where's the food? What am I going to eat in the next year? I stand in the 6th year and I see the same amount of produce that I've had for the last couple of years. What am I going to eat for the 7th year? What am I going to eat if it's going to be Shemitah and perhaps Yovel afterwards? Says the Torah, don't worry. I will command my blessing to come to you, says Hashem, because you kept Shemitah, and there will be an abundance of produce. You'll see in your 6th year so much produce that will be sufficient for the next 3 years. Now, what's the question that someone may ask? If the Rebbeinu Shalom has promised, then there's going to be a promise. He's going to give it. Explains the Sefarna that the Rabbi Yechiel is telling us like this. There are people, 2 levels of emunah in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There are people who trust. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said there's going to be a bracha. I trust in Hashem. I leave my field fallow. I don't ask any questions. I only see the same amount of produce that I've seen in the last couple of years. I trust in Hashem. There may be someone else who comes out and says, I'm keeping Shemitah, but the Rebbeinu Shalom said there's going to be a produce. I don't see any produce. I don't see more than I've had in the other years. What am I going to do? And he begins to worry. For that person, says HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I will make sure he has plenty of produce, that he doesn't worry, that his eye is satisfied by seeing so much. Explains the Sefarna, and so does the Noam Elimelech in the name of his brother, the Rebbe of Zisha, that there are 2 levels of trust in Hashem. And each one gets a blessing that is commensurate to the amount of trust that the person has. The first is a trust in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I believe in Hashem, I trust in Him, unequivocally without any questions. For that person, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, you're going to have a small amount of produce, very little work to do, but you'll be satisfied for the next 3 years. There'll be a bracha in the food. For the other person, he asks questions, but he's keeping Shemitah, there's got to be a bracha. Don't worry, you'll get an abundance of produce. You'll see huge amounts in your field, and you'll be spending loads of time having to take all that produce and work on it and make it able to be eaten. But you'll have a bracha, you'll be satisfied for those 3 years. They explain, what is the bigger bracha? Is the bigger bracha to see a huge amount of produce in the field, or is the bigger bracha to see a small amount of produce in the field, but to be satisfied for 3 years? And the answer is that the less amount of produce is a bigger bracha, because it brings with it the less amount of work to do.